Bon dia, or buenos dias. Sunday the 26th of November here. Started day 42. Just out in the fields here because we're done. Had our last day picking olives yesterday, sitting under one of the trees we smashed to pieces. And yeah, she's all over as far as the olives are concerned. Nobody seemed to have any fucking idea how many trees they've got because it started at 300 and then it was 200 and in the end we only did 107 or something. And yesterday we had, we knew we didn't have enough and we were sort of like searching around the whole place trying to find another tree to get us up to 350. And I was sort of thinking about stealing some from the neighbours over here, but yeah, in the end Jose and I went to the mill yesterday afternoon and we had 323, but they said that was alright. So yeah, it's all gone pretty quick really. I'll have some more. We've still got to go and pick up the last of the olive oil this afternoon, so I'll have some more numbers for you then. I'll hold fire until we've got that. So yeah, not really sure what the plan is for the next wee while. Johnny's got his last week here next week, so we got today and tomorrow off, so then there'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to sort of fill in, and then I think we're both going to head through to Valencia. I'm going to spend the weekend there with some cousins and my cousin and some of his friends, and Johnny's meeting his mates there, and he's spending another week in Spain before heading back to Poland. So yeah, it's all come to a head pretty quick. Got a few wee things to talk about, a little bit of Spanish. What else have I got? Some politics actually, just to turn even more off, some more economics, and yeah, that's about it. I decided it would be remiss of me not to talk about Catalonia a little bit more. It's a pretty big sort of story here, obviously, and all around the world, but talking to people in New Zealand, it sounds like it might be a little bit easier to follow over here, just because there's a bit more coverage in that. So the basic sort of rundown was that Catalonia had a vote on the 1st of October, I think it was, for independence, which was against the law. There's an article in the Spanish law, Article 155, ciento cincuenta y cinco, that was like the first Spanish words I learnt, that says they're not allowed to do that. They did it anyway, and it was sort of waste of time anyway, because I think 43% of the population turned out. Of that 43, 80 something were in favour of independence, but as you can imagine, only the people that were in favour turned up, basically. So then that sort of, I don't think anything really happened straight away, and then it wasn't until sort of fairly recently that Catalonia voted because they've got their own government in Catalonia, they voted themselves for independence, and that was a huge majority in favour. I think 70 votes for and 10 against. And then immediately after that, the King of Spain, or the Prime Minister or whatever he is, he seized power of Catalonia because they'd broken the laws and that, and basically dismissed all those ministers and said that they were going to form a new government, having a vote on the 21st of December. At that point, the guy that had started it all, Puigdemont, he fled to Belgium, because then they were all those ministers were at risk of getting arrested, spending up to 30 years in jail, because they had broken the law for having that vote on independence, and those sort of the other charges were like wasting government money and immunity or whatever it's called, when you're going against your own government. So Puigdemont went to Belgium with like 10 other ministers, and they've been there since. They were sort of in hiding for a couple of days. Then they showed themselves to the Belgian authorities because there was an EU arrest warrant out for them. They got a sort of little trial in Belgium, and Belgium decided they didn't have to leave. So they're still there, and it's kind of a stalemate at the moment. It looks like they might even stay there till the 21st. There's a few other ministers that are here in Spain that are in prison, and there's sort of calls every day to release them, but that's not really happening. So just sort of a holding pattern and see what happens on the 21st, because I think if Puigdemont, I think he's going to stand again for his party. It'll be, but he's still kind of at risk of going to jail if he comes back here. So that's sort of the lowdown. It's pretty interesting, and it's definitely soaks up a lot of media attention here. And they had one other little thing on the news during the week that fucking nearly made me spit my food out. That was they must have done like a census kind of thing in Spain, and they had the average incomes of people like in different regions, and Madrid was the highest. It was like 24,000 euros a year, and all the way down to like 13,000 around Andalusia and stuff, where it's mainly sort of farming and stuff. And that just sort of blew me away, like how little that was, and yeah, just crazy. I don't know, a few of you might be taken back by that as well, but it really really struck me anyway. Right, and a wee bit of Spanish today is on the sounds. I'll try to sort of bring them up across the screen, but have like luego, which is like hasta luego, sort of until then, if you translate it directly, but more like see you later. Luego, and that's like, if I phonetically sounded, it'd be like luego. Whereas then you have like lluvia, like double L, rain, Lluvia, is more like lluvia, just because there's a second L, so it's sort of hard to always get confused between the two of them. Huevo, which is the egg, I'd say is more like huevo, like you just totally forget about the H. And sort of comparing that to juego, which is game, which I'd sort of sound out like that with a couple of H's and then way go again. And then one that really fucks me off is the G's. Like you can have gente, which is it's like a Dutch G, like pretty much, probably a little bit softer than that. Gente, which means people. And then you have like gafas, which is glasses, Gafas, which is like a normal sort of English G. So I always get that wrong. When I see words with G, I'm grabbing the wrong one. Hambre, which is hungry, which I've got there below. It's sort of, you just forget about the H. And vale, which is like okay. Use that every day, like all day, every day. But yeah, as you can see, it sounds a lot different to the way it's written down. And one wee trick that I did learn, which was sort of flows on from my last one, was the putting the emphasis on words. And like I'd seen like a cheese shop, and I said, what did I say? Queseria, but it's queseria. And there's an accent on the I at the end, so that's sort of how you know where to put the emphasis on the word. So there's a good wee trick to pick up. I don't know if that's the sole purpose of those accents or what the story is, but and then the R probably is the last one. Like if I say ni, which is rodilla, and they really like lucky I can do that. Rodilla or Roberto. So that's kind of fun. I actually quite enjoy doing that. all the words with R's in them. Yeah, so that's about it really. Hopefully that's not too long or too boring for any of you. Spanish is definitely getting better. I got a wee bit of a chat going with Jose on the way back from the mill yesterday. Managed to figure out what the difference between Masia and Casa was. It was like a house and sort of rural house for farmers. But anyway, that was a good challenge for me and good fun. They were sort of talking to us about the trees, the olive trees. That's fucking old, unbelievably old. Like, they were talking about some of the trees down the road and that being like over 1,000 years old, and the ones at Sandy's sister's place being like 400 or 500 years old. And I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, they've got some wee ones over there that are like, they'd probably be maybe a metre high, and they reckon they're like 8 years old or something. And there's a sort of a nice saying, but I haven't actually got the direct translation, but in Spanish. But it was like you get almond trees from your father and olive trees from your grandfather. So that was that made me sort of, I was hitting the trees a bit softer the last couple of days because it was really bad. These things are hundreds of years old and you're standing there with sticks beating the shit out of them. But just amazing. So it's obviously not a sort of short-term thing, and you can see a lot of these trees, the big ones, it's just crazy to think they've been there for 1,000 years. That's nuts. But yeah, that's about it. Starting to cool down actually. Today the high's forecast about 14, and then I think later in the week it's going to be like 10 or 11, 1 degree at night. So it's something to look forward to. Not. But hopefully it's not too bad. Alrighty, see yous.